Do you want to know how to make the world a better, happier place? Well, stay tuned because that's exactly what you're going to learn in this video. If we haven't met yet, my name's James Peter with Destiny Influencers, and for those of you who do know me, well, you know that I'm a marketing guy, and I've been an online marketer for 8 years or so, but that's not what this video is about. This video is going to be fundamentally different from my other videos. It's not marketing based. You know, I may throw a marketing message in at the very end, but it definitely relates to what I'm going to say today. And my message today, I believe, is super important, and it needs to be said and it needs to be heard by as many people as possible. So here it is. The single most important, most effective thing that anyone can and should do to make this world a better place right now, today, is to relieve someone's suffering. That's right. There's so much suffering in the world these days, and it's having such a huge impact. And there's so many ways to relieve people's suffering. It can actually be really easy to do. It's not this big monumental task. I mean, people are suffering physically, they're suffering mentally, they're certainly suffering emotionally, they're suffering in their relationships, and they're suffering in businesses. It's going on day in and day out. We're really in a tough time right now, and I know you know what I'm talking about. People are suffering on a daily basis, and we can do something about that. And in doing something about that, we can make this world a better place. So here's a classic story. This is my most recent story as a good example to this. Is back at the end of December of this 2020, I drove myself to the emergency room because I was having abdominal pain, really severe, and I spent 26 hours in the emergency room there while they were trying to figure out what was going on with me, and decided that had a perforated colon and that it was getting infected and that I needed emergency surgery. So they brought me in for emergency surgery. I spent 8 days in the hospital recovering, and now I'm at home recovering from that. And interesting time, but here's the important part of all that, is that I met many people there in the hospital. Some were doing their job, you know, going through the motions and just doing their job, but many others were doing that and so much more. Many others were focused on helping relieve the suffering that myself and their other patients were going through. And I had a great surgeon. I had some great nurses. And here's a story I want to tell you about my stay there that I think has particular relevance to my topic today, because it's not about a surgeon or a nurse in particular. It's about a particular nurse's aide that I had. And I'm not going to mention her name. I don't want to embarrass anyone, but, you know, she was something. She smiled and she was friendly every time she came into my room. She was caring and showed interest in how I was doing. And, you know, I responded to that, and I was talking to her, and obviously she felt comfortable enough to tell me a lot of her life story. And it turns out that this particular person grew up really, really poor. We're talking poverty. And they had somewhat of a troubled childhood. And, you know, they'd overcome that and gotten themselves employed at the hospital as an aide. And, you know, at one point I was saying to her, you know, I feel like a broken old man right about now. And she looked at me and she said, and I get a little emotional with all this, but she said, "A broken old man, you're my hero." She goes, "I see you out there walking the halls, trying to get better, trying to get mobility every single day." She said, "Do you see anybody else out there walking the halls? Is there anyone else out there with you?" "No." She said, "You're my hero." And that meant a lot to me. And in that moment, she relieved some of my suffering. You know, some of it was self-pity about how broken and vulnerable and incapable I felt at that particular moment being post-op. But she really made me feel better, and she relieved my suffering in a way that she probably has no idea. So on the way out at discharge time, I made a point of telling her what an amazing person she is, and what a big impact she has on her patients, and how she was vitally important to that organization, and that she relieves people's suffering every single day. And I saw something light up in her, and I knew that I had relieved her suffering in some way. And it was just the smallest little thing that she said to me, talking about me walking the halls, and the smallest thing that I said to her when she was wheeling me out in the wheelchair at discharge time, that made a difference in both of our lives. And that's what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about there's so many different ways that you can relieve people's suffering and make their day better, make their existence better. Because life is damn hard, and it's hard for all of us. And if life hasn't kicked you yet and hit you hard when you're down and made it a huge challenge for you, just wait, because it will. And I'm not saying that to freak you out or to bum you out. I'm just saying it because if it hasn't happened yet, it's going to happen. Life is hard. Life is challenging. It's a struggle. And if we can make it better for each other and relieve each other's suffering in some way, that's a noble thing to do. It's an important thing to do. And it's very doable. It could be as simple as just making somebody smile, helping them with a task that they're obviously struggling with. Maybe it's just looking in their eyes and letting them know that they're not alone, that we're all going through this together, that we're going to get through it together, and that there are people that care about them. Those little things, seemingly little things, can make a huge impact on somebody's day and on somebody's life. You're giving them hope. Just by giving people hope, you're helping relieve their suffering. There's nothing worse than being hopeless. And believe me, there are so many people who feel hopeless these days. With this global pandemic and everything that goes along with that, there's a lot of hopelessness out there. So let's all work together and try and do things that help relieve people's suffering. You can make a huge difference in this world. You know, people will be just a little bit happier, or at the very least, they're going to be less sad. And that will flow out of them. And I'm not trying to get all woo-woo on you here, because I'm not really a woo-woo type of person, but I believe that when you relieve people's suffering, when you help make their life just a little bit better, it flows out of them. And if so many of us do this, there'll be so many people with good vibes flowing out of them, with vibes of hope instead of hopelessness, that it will make a difference. So if you are going through your day and you see an opportunity to do something within your daily tasks, your daily chores, your daily routine, and you see an opportunity to just relieve someone's suffering in some way, grab it, take hold of it, and do it. Believe me, it's going to have a huge impact. And if we all do that, and if we're all conscious of that, it's going to make a huge difference. And this world will be a better place. More people will have hope. Less people will feel hopeless, and the world will be a better place. Now, as I said, I'm a marketer. I like to think, as I made this video, that's one of the things that I help marketers do. I help relieve their suffering, because there's a lot of suffering going on out there in marketing and in business. And if I can show people an easier, faster, better, less painful way to get where they want to be and to reach their goals, then so be it. I mean, that's great. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say for now. Again, you can make a huge difference in the world by doing those little things. And I hope you hear this message. If you like what you've heard, if this resonates with you, please share this video. Share it with your friends. Maybe subscribe to my channel. I'll be putting out more content similar to this when it strikes me. So like the video, share it, subscribe to my channel. And at the very least, think about what I said, because you truly can make a difference. All right, that's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Peace.